Bang 10 Stampede, because you're listening to the next episode of Vinyl Stallions.
Mahalo. And this is a very special episode, and honestly, going to be a quick one. So if you're just driving to the grocery store, you may finish this.
Yep. So all this is a recap of a little game that Spruce and I invented called Vinyl Roulette. You can't win any money playing it, but you can win yourself one hell of an experience. So the rules of Vinyl Roulette. Spruce and I collectively combined our vinyl collections, wrote down the name of every single record in the collection down on a piece of paper, put it in a hat, and you draw 6 albums and listen to it. You don't draw them 6 at a time, you draw them as you go. But 6 albums, doesn't matter whether they're short or long, 6 is the name of the game.
And back that ass up real quick. How many albums did we have combined between yourself and I?
So I never tallied an exact number, but it was close to 200.
That's what I was going to say, between 150, 200. And we laid them all out on the floor, which was probably one of the coolest parts. Even before we listened to the music, we laid every single album out on the floor, took up half of Club's family room floor. And just to see just the history, the variety was unreal before we even chose one. But the anticipation was there. We were building this up for months, I think. Like, we had this date planned and knew we were going to do this. And so myself, I was like, okay, I got to go to the record store the day before and get a couple albums. So I did, and added them late to the list. So that was kind of like the late ads. But the very late ad, and another rule that we did was, so for reference, it was Klep, myself, and then our buddy Michael joined us. We each got to put in 10 bonus like write-ins to the hat. So basically it was to double the chances of whatever album you really wanted to hear.
Yeah,
so
we called it odds boost. We got it from FanDuel Sportsbook. You know how they'll have like those certain sports bets where you can do an odds boost.
Nope, can't relate. It's illegal in Ohio.
But well, in Michigan.
Yeah, right. And I think it's coming in Ohio very soon. But nonetheless, we did a little odds booth. So that was fun. We were joking around like how this isn't going to mean anything because it was in a top hat and we were just reaching in. So house rules, Klep got the pick first.
And Spruce was talking about how he went to the record store. Was it the day of or the night before?
It was it was the Friday before, and this was on a Saturday.
All right. And one of the albums he picked out and was selected from the hat was
Sonic Boom, an album released in 2020, and it's called All Things Being Equal, and Sonic Boom is the name of the person that released it. And if you are watching us on video, I'm holding it up right now.
I got the poster.
Yeah, Klep.
And we got Sonic Boom.
And so the album, if you could see, is really cool. We'll also be posting it if you're just listening. Everything will be on our social. But it's an insane album cover. It just drew me in. It's all different shapes and whatnot that spells Sonic Boom actually like in these weird letters. So I was like, this is crazy. So I buy it. I send it to the group saying, add this to this collection, bitches. And Klep looks it up, and apparently this was classified as experimental space rock.
I'd never heard of that genre before.
Had no idea that it existed. So I was like, oh yeah, add it to the list. I would love to hear something new. We get it. And correct me if I'm wrong, Klep, was this a bonus add-on, or was it straight up the real thing?
Nope. Actually, okay. So you did added on. Like that was one of your odds boost
Correct,
picks,
but it wasn't
but
the
the
one
one
I
I
wrote.
drew was the original, because there's you could tell which ones were odd boosts and which
Yeah,
ones
my
weren't because of
handwriting
the
is horrible.
handwriting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so this was the OG one that
so we
got picked.
so we started this, and so we started putting it on. It sounded like nothing I've ever heard of. It's like alien music. And as we
Four-leaf clover over
over
and
and
over.
over, the main track, Spinning Coins and Wishing on Clovers, number 4 on the first side of the record. And dude, the side, if you look at it, it's not even labeled. We had to choose. So, Club, talk real quick so people can see that poster again.
All right, here is the poster. So yeah, you'll see like first top of it's one color scheme, bottom of it's a different color scheme.
And so, looking back at my screen, this is what one side looks like, and then the other is that green and blue. So
Yep.
we were smart enough to at least start with the first side, and we continued to work. It continued to sound very strange. And then as he was talking and singing, Sonic Boom was, I just kept thinking of Elvin and the Chipmunk because it was so high pitched. And I was like, this is so freaking bizarre.
Yeah.
And it was bizarre, and we made it through. I'm glad we got it for this, because I don't think I would have made it through it all the way if I had it just on, because it was one of the most bizarre ever pieces of music I've ever seen. On the back, we love analyzing it. So it says, "To all my family, friends, and my wife, my friends past, present, and future, and all his
And
musical co-conspirators,
co-conspirators.
Panda Bear, Beach House, the Jazz Butcher, and many, many others that you can find under Sonic Boom credentials." So yeah, that was all well, and we got our first one. It was one we'd never heard. It was the most insane type of music I've ever heard in my life. And we go back down, we get all excited. All right, number 2, what do we got? And
What
I
do
think,
we got?
and I think I chose it. And I
Yeah.
reached in and I pulled her out, and it was Physical Graffiti, Led Zeppelin.
And this is crazy. So this is an OG pressing of Physical Graffiti back from the 1970s. At this point in time, this is from my dad's collection. At this point in time, Led Zeppelin was his favorite band, and I bet you he got this within a day or two of its release. But obviously, Led Zeppelin, Physical Graffiti, it's a 2 disc, and like the way this works is like really cool. So like you just pull this out, it goes up instead of through the side, and so you can see through all the windows, and this right here is what fills it in. But obviously, Spruce and I know this album very well. It's freaking Zeppelin. And so the first song is Custard Pie. And right away, we noticed something's off. Like Robert Plant doesn't sound like Robert Plant at all. And so I go over and look at the record player, and I notice, I was like, oh, this was playing on 30 RPM. And it hits both of us. We're like, we just listened to that whole Sonic Boom album on the wrong speed.
Bro, it was the most like holy shit moment where you think about it. Sonic Boom had 7,000 followers on Spotify, I believe. And I'd love to shake each one of those people's hands and just kind of let them talk for a good 15 minutes. But besides that point, 7,000 in the entire world. We listened to it on the entire album on the wrong speed. I don't even think Sonic Boom himself can even say he's done that. I don't know if there's anyone in this world that can say they've done that besides the Vinyl Stallions. Now, completely on accident. I couldn't believe it when we found out. I was in complete tears, and
It was hilarious. We were like, oh, that's probably why it sounded so weird.
and why I kept saying chipmunks the entire time. No, that was very funny. That I could not believe that's the way that first one panned out. But yeah, so as Club said, we went into Physical Graffiti, Zeppelin album that I like my favorite Zeppelin song is Down by the Seaside. And so it's on that album. I listened to it, but I've never listened to it all the way through. And to be able to do it exactly how it is, where you get those 3 songs and then it lifts up and then you actually have to physically go and flip it. You get silence to be able to digest it.
Yep.
This really got us going in that Vinyl Roulette.
And I don't know, me personally, I just love the popping and crackling from the album. Like to me, it's just a euphoric sound.
It's raw. It's beautiful. So like we said, we went through 6 albums. The one song I was trying to lay down and go to sleep after we did all this, I just kept going. In my time of dying, and I was like literally losing my fucking mind trying to go to bed that night, and I just kept hearing that over and over again. Well, oh well, so I could die easy. And I just, oh my god, it's so different.
For me, the one that stuck in my head was 10 Years Gone.
That's insane, dude. No, unreal second album. We got back to the core of music with that. Worked our way through, and then we got to our third one, which Michael chose. And from
actually,
yeah, no.
Now that I think about it, did he go third or did you?
No.
Did
I know the ones that I chose, and
okay.
Yeah. I don't want to. I definitely chose Zeppelin. That's all I can say, because
Okay.
he's like, all right. So he chose this next one. Third one that we got was the Guello's ZZ Top. And
that's right. I have my order mixed up.
yeah, we had Deguelos, and so he chose it because he kept being like, I'm gonna butcher this pronunciation. And then Club was like, holy shit, dude, I've never listened to this. And it's literally the last album, because Club has his alphabetically. It was the complete last album. Yeah, so talk Club, show the people.
Yeah, so yep, here we go. Deguelo. And yeah, so it's alphabetical order, and then within artist it's chronological. So I have one other ZZ Top album, I think it's called Fandango. But yeah, I mean, I've always known ZZ Top, never really taken a deep dive though. I think same goes for you, Spruce. Is that fair to say?
I mean, it's just, yeah, Cheap Sunglasses is the only one I recognize.
Yeah, that was the only song I knew, was Cheap Sunglasses. And so we were just like, well, don't really know what to expect. We got Billy Gibbons, Dusty Hill, and Frank Beard. Let's see what the boys got.
The boys brought the blues out the ass. It brought us back to the core of the blues, but also
it rocked.
Shout out to Manic Mechanic.
Oh, that song was wild. Yeah.
Talk about just one of the most unique, just like, what in the
you just had like car motorcycle songs,
dude, and it sounded like
throughout the song.
It sounded like the devil from South Park when he was singing during that one too. He's like,
yeah, there's nothing like that song, honestly. If you haven't heard it, go look up Manic Mechanic by ZZ Top.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so that was just a pure well, it was nice because Zeppelin was a 2 album or 2 disc album. So this was just 1 disc again. We got through it pretty quickly. It was about 45 minutes, I believe, or so.
Yep, that classic 70s album length.
Yeah.
And you have to think about it. So like, why is that? You know why most of those albums are that length? Because it takes up 2 sides of a vinyl without leaving too much empty space. Like it totally makes sense.
It had to be done that way, or else you're throwing up more money for an entire side, and then you have to fill up that entire other album as well. There's no middle ground.
Yep, that's why most are like 45 minutes or about an hour and 25 if it's a 2-discer.
That's awesome. So yeah, that was a great one to just lead us into halftime boys. We did some stretching out, and then we rinse, scrub, repeat, something like that. Maybe not in that order. So Mr. Klubzig got to go once more,
and this was hilarious. So our friend Michael, for his odds boost, one of the albums he picked, and this one was the one that won, Big Whiskey and the Grugrux King by Dave Matthews Band. Um, but I don't know if he didn't know that that was the name of the album or was just too lazy to write it out. But he wrote "Why I Am" on the piece of paper.
I do remember that, and you were like, "Wait, I know," and we
I was
just
like,
ran immediately.
yeah, because at first I'm reading it, I'm like, there's no album called "Why I Am," and then I'm like, all right, this isn't my handwriting. I'm pretty sure I know what Michael was getting at here.
And one of, if not the coolest put together albums ever. The
So look, here's the inside.
And is it true Dave does all this artwork? I know he does it for a lot of his albums, but I didn't really look up after if he does that one specifically.
So I tried looking it up to see if that was the case, and I honestly could find nowhere where they like talk about the illustration. I will say this, I have Away from the World, the album that comes after this. And the artwork looks like it was illustrated by the same person.
Okay.
um
Dude, but I say put together albums. It comes with these just beautiful like slides that come out of it where it breaks down each song into like 1/4 of a side, has an illustration for it, has all of the lyrics written out, but it looks like it's like engraved into like the side of, it looks like what it would be like a rock, or engraved like hieroglyphic-y. And so very well done. And also just a Dave album I had not listened to all the way through. You know a couple off of it pretty well. You see in their set list they're playing it live. These are a lot of this album is ones where I feel like Dave throws in at like song number like 4 or 5 and just sneaks it in there, because we heard Dive In when we were in Columbus, and
yeah,
the appreciation I have for that song now, that is that one, Lying in the Hands of God, and Alligator Pie, dude. Alligator Pie, it blew my mind. It said, or it made me think that whenever someone is like, I don't get DMB, all their songs sound the same. And I will
no,
just
they
show
do
them.
not.
No, it's just the acoustic guitar that sounds the same. If you go and look up exactly what Dave is doing on the guitar, let alone the entire rest of the band, you're wrong. But Alligator Pie is a perfect example of what DMV can sound like live, taking you all over the place. And again, it's such a hidden track, but I'm very glad we were able to find it. Time Bomb, oh my gosh, Time Bomb is another one that I only really heard from a live version where it was like an intro to two-step, and I just thought he was making up those lyrics, and as Dave does, but it's an entire different song. And oh my God, Timmy rips my face off.
All right, I finally think I found it, because so what I've been doing here is reading through, hold on, let me get it on camera right here, all the credits, just trying to figure out if this says who the artwork's by. And so yes, right after production assistant, illustration and art direction, Dave Matthews.
Oh my God, this guy is the best. He can do everything.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I heard you mention it. Let me pull it out for the folks to see. So, this is side one right here. You can see so that each song has like an illustration, and all the lyrics are on here too. And so they have a square like that for every song. And then if the song like for example, this side doesn't only has 3 songs, so you get this guy here.
That guy looks like he should be in Spy Kids.
Yeah. Yeah, very cool. Like it was very different.
And like with this
Not a
whole
lot of artists put that level of work into their artwork.
and with this whole roulette as well, like I mean, we have all the time, and this is a 2-discer as well, so it's over an hour, and we have time to analyze it, look at every single thing happening, because it's all meant on purpose. How many times do I have to say it's stallions? But it was fun to take in, kind of with friends. So shout out to Dave. Shout out to that album. I mean, you could go to my Spotify right now and I will click on home. It'll just be sitting right there waiting for me. I try to avoid it saying, yo, you've listened to this so many times. And then fuck it. Dun, 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 dun. It's you and me together.
Anything,
Baby. Man. Yeah. So Kick Ass won. I am very, very, very happy we got a DMB. And
yeah, that I mean, we both do. We just love Dave Matthews Band, so this was great.
But it was a unique one, and one just like I don't know, it was very awesome to listen and walk through that. Dave's voice on it. Last thing I'm gonna say was very like reverby, very just like go listen to "Lying in the Hands of God," and it's maybe I'll be your ruler. But anyway, we got DMB to start off the second half of this, and Club was asking, were we out of order and whatnot? The only reason why I knew and I didn't want to break what album we got next was because it was my favorite guy ever, Juice the Bruce Springsteen, with the Wild, the Innocent, and the E Street Shuffle.
Right on. Yeah, no. So what confused me is, so you drew that one out of the hat?
I drew this one out of the hat.
For some reason, I was thinking Michael drew it out of the hat, and I knew that one was fifth. That's why I thought like, oh, maybe Michael went second, because for some reason I thought he drew that one.
Want to know why you thought he was involved in it? It's because he was. This was another one Michael added to the odds, and he wrote E Street Shuffle for it, and that is why you thought he was involved. So we got back-to-back Michael's picks, 2 of them, 2 out of the 6. With me, I probably only brought like 20 to 30 albums, again, out of like almost 200. But Sonic Boom and Bruce, 2 of mine hit as well, which is just fun to think about. Like, if I didn't bring mine,
what are the
never
odds?
even gotten them. Yeah, what are the odds? Math, tell us. But just another cool one, another one where like, talk about scrappy old Bruce, like mustache, so skinny. On the back, you see the whole E Street Band at the time. This was the last album with their drummer, Mad Dog Max, or it was Vinny Mad Dog Lopez. My apologies. And then that's when Max Weinberg came on the next one after that. But you can see, I mean, the crew, you got Clarence looking fresh. You got young Bruce just out there scrapping. Gary Talons plays the tuba on this at some points with the bass. And what an album. The New York City Serenade, Kitty's Back, never hit harder in my life.
Oh my goodness. The New York City Serenade, I think that was the one for me, just because I had heard, like, I've listened to that album all the way through before, but I don't remember that song sounding as crazy as I did like when we did the roulette.
And want to know what we haven't mentioned to the Stampede out there is how we listen to the actual sound. So with Klep's record player, we were able to connect to JBL speakers, 3 of them to be exact.
Mm-hmm.
Where we were able to put them all around the room. And when you do that, it sounds like you're inside of the music. You can hear every instrument so freaking clearly. And the fact that it was still coming from a vinyl, mind-numbingly awesome.
Absolutely. I mean, professional audio technicians will tell you that vinyl is like the most like audio. I'm thinking I can't think
best
of that
quality or like just best like
best sound quality to listen to music. So I mean that's why I'm a big fan of it.
Yeah, it's beautiful. But yeah, so we got 5, and then we had one last one to close out the evening.
And this one, so there were, as you can sort of tell, so like obviously, if you were gonna say 2 albums were the most similar, I would probably say guello and Physical Graffiti, right?
Correct.
And Bruce is not far behind because he's like right in that era, just like less bluesy, than Zeppelin and ZZ Top.
Absolutely.
And then I mean, Dave Matthews Band can sort of fit into that style of music, but it's just more modern, it's more jammy. Sonic Boom, does not fit with those at all.
That's like what our
whatsoever.
like when we have kids and then they have kids, they're gonna think like that's the type of music that our kids are gonna listen to.
Yep. And then the album that we got for the last one was also not like the middle four, and it was A View from the Top of the World by Dream Theater. And this was so like we've talked about Dream Theater in the past. We did a concert review on them because I saw them towards the end of February. Yeah, that show was so amazing. I went and ordered the vinyl for that album because I was like, well, I listened to it already. I love it. They just played an amazing show. Like, yeah, of course I'm going to get the record. And it was a 2-discer too. So that was another interesting thing. Half the albums that we got were 2-disc, half were 1-disc.
And they rotated perfectly as well. 1-disc, 2-disc, 1-disc, 2-disc, 1-disc, 2-disc.
Yep. And that was just very interesting. Is it just totally different type of music?
It was so perfectly just balanced as all things should be, Thanos style. But yeah, no, that was a crazy one to end it. I had, like I said, heard a couple like Ministry of Lost Souls or whatever song and a couple of them, but man, what a unique, like that progressive rock. They just won a Grammy. I remember a scene.
Yeah, the Alien. Yeah, you told me about that for best metal performance.
Yeah, best metal performance. And like, but it's progressive metal and just like video game-esque. It was, I don't know, crazy way to end it. Like I said, we had over 200 options and these were the whole 6 we got, but we're freaking addicted and we're going to be doing it again at the end of May.
Yep. Yeah. Keep your eyes peeled because Vinyl Roulette 2 is on the way.
That's right. But I encourage everyone to take some time, listen to some vinyls if you have it out there. If not, find a friend who does, because it's, again, the way it's majority of music in the past was supposed to be listened to, and it gives you some time to just process it, to be able to look at that artwork, to be able to take that time in between when you have to go and flip it to process it. So yeah, this was freaking so much fun. It was epic. We literally keep saying it was epic because like I just want to do it again.
Yeah, I have an itch to scratch.
Well, I said at the beginning this was going to be a quick one where you can go to the grocery store, but hopefully you live on a farm about 30 minutes or so away and you're able to do it. If not, then hopefully you have some AirPods and you're walking down the frozen ice cream aisle right now. But that about wraps this up. Again, this was very fun. We'll post some stuff on our social, just kind of to give you some visuals of what we were looking at, picking through it. But that's about it. Shout out to Vinyls.
Vinyls for Vinyl Stallions.
Well, my name is Bruce.
I'm Clef.
And this has been another episode of
Vinyl Stallions.